Welcome to Round Table with the Communicators, an initiative commissioned by Rhoma Tomlinson Whyte as part of the course Web-Based Journalism. Today we'll explore the theme, Journalism in the Digital Age, Challenges and Opportunities. Now to our host, Ramon Gordon.
Good evening and thank you for tuning in to this, the first and possibly the only installment of Round Table with the Communicators. Now, this forum was developed as part of the course Web-Based Journalism, facilitated by lecturer Rhoma Tomlinson Whyte. The topic for conversation this evening is Journalism in the Digital Age, Challenges and Opportunities. My name is Ramon Gordon, and with me to dissect this theme is a panel of professionals with much experience in the industry of journalism and, by extension, digital media. I'll now throw to my colleague, Aldria Anderson, for more formal introductions, then we'll dive right into the program. Aldria.
Thank you, Ramon, and good evening all. On the panel,
It looks like Aldria is frozen. Aldria, it's fine, this is a part of, working virtually. The online space is so unpredictable. 1 minute everything is fine, and the next minute, well, you see Aldria is frozen in place. Aldria, we have you back now?
I'm not sure. Are you seeing and hearing me?
Well, I'm seeing and hearing you now.
Okay, that's great. So I was saying that Javon Keys is a broadcast reporter / producer and presenter with the Aldria Gleaner Group. He joined the TVJ newsroom in May 2019, and since then he has been designated to carry out numerous responsibilities apart from his core duties of writing and producing stories on multiple areas for the TVJ's primetime news, News in 5, and midday news packages. In 2019, Javon was shortlisted by the Press Association of Jamaica for excellence in reporting on agriculture. He serves as a broadcast producer for the live primetime news broadcast, as well as producer and host of the business discussion program, The Exchange, a monthly JNN and Financial Gleaner Forum. He played a key role as one of the producers and the social media and public questions coordinator for the pioneering Aldria Gleaner Group COVID-19 virtual town hall meeting. He was also the deputy producer for the September 3 general election results show on TVJ, which aired on numerous stations across the region. Javon was also responsible for producing the live daily election program Decisions 2020, hosted by Herman Green. He has also served as one of news anchors for Jamaica News Network, JNN. Andrew Laidley is a journalist employed to the Aldria Gleaner Communications Group. He is the business reporter for Television and Radio Jamaica. Andrew holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism from the Caribbean School of Media and Communication, CARMAC, at the University of the West Indies, Mona campus. He is an International Monetary Fund Journalism and Youth Fellow and has received multiple awards from the Press Association of Jamaica for his work on various topical issues in Jamaica. Andrew is also a certified Media Institute of the Caribbean investigative reporter who collaborates with regional and international players to highlight and uncover issues affecting the region. Casey L.K. Williams is a multimedia journalist covering print, radio, and online formats since 2013. His work experience includes being a news correspondent for Jamaica's #1 ranked radio station, IRFM, a former freelance writer and present staff reporter for the Jamaica Observer, owner of Portlanders News and former writer for the North Coast Times newspaper. His passion for journalism led him to the Mandeville-based Northern Caribbean University's Department of Communication Studies, DCS, in 2016, where he recently completed a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication Studies with an emphasis in journalism. Soyini Phillips is an international journalist who has interviewed over 100 actors, actresses, and producers in Hollywood, California. She has hosted several red carpet events, among them the Black Panther movie premiere, the Rock Nation Brunch, the WFC Awards, and A Wrinkle in Time. In addition to being a motivational speaker, Soyini is also very passionate about giving back. She has been involved with over 50 charities, traveling the world on various missions, including a visit to South Africa. She is the founder of Save Our Souls Jamaica, an initiative that has assisted 7 schools in 2019 and in 2020 will be assisting over 500 students. She has also spearheaded an initiative to feed 100 families across Jamaica in the spike of the COVID-19 outbreak. She plans to establish the charity internationally this year by helping with the rehabilitation of schools in Gambia and Thailand. Dominic McIntyre is a past youth advocate for UNICEF's You Report Jamaica. He developed plans and strategies that help increase youth participation in digital polls, forums, key activations, and recruitment drives island-wide. After his tenure came to an end, he delved into copywriting and editing. He has drafted several professional resumes and cover letters. He also writes academic papers as part of a small business. Additionally, Dominic also works as a human resource professional and a website/product copy editor and content strategist. He writes weekly blog posts where he focuses solely on character building, social issues, and personal development. He previously also interned at the Fresh Air Fund in New York as a communications officer. He is a student at the University of the West Indies, majoring in international relations, and a student at Harvard Online Learning, where he is currently completing a course in audience engagement in journalism. Dominic is a writer for Medium, where he is a contributor for 2 publications. Kemel Avery O'Keefe Pascal hails from the Enterprise Chaguanas in Trinidad. At present, he is pursuing a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism at the College of Science, Technology, and the Applied Arts of Trinidad and Tobago. He has served as an RBC Young Leader, then went on to represent COSTAT at the 16th National Youth Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago in the capacity of opposition member for Caroni Central. He also had the pleasure of being the Youth Minister of National Security and mover of the motion for debate. He is passionate about youth development, communications, development of parliamentary practice and procedure, and the development of Trinidad and Tobago. This passion has driven him to create a news page which focuses on sharing the news of Trinidad and Tobago. He is currently working on a mini-series, Conversations with Kamel, which sheds light on items of political education, youth and matters affecting Trinidad and Tobago. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you all for being here, and we look forward to the conversation at hand.
All right, thank you, Aldria. We have a lot of brain power in the room. Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for being here. You didn't have to do this, but you took the time out of your day to stop for a short period of time to chat with us. Now, we're going to jump right into things. I want us to start by doing this. I want each of you guys hearing me? If you're hearing me, you don't have to turn on your mic. Put up your hand. Put up your hand. You're hearing me? Nice. I want each of you to share and explain one way in which journalism has been affected negatively by the internet. Again, I want you to share and explain one way the internet has negatively affected journalism. We're going to be starting with the challenges. Yeah? So whether it's privacy concerns or issues with fake news, I want to hear about it, and I want to hear it from you. Let's start with you, Mr. Keys. Javon?
Hi, thank you so much, Ramon. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so one of the major challenges for us in a newsroom particularly is verifying content. So oftentimes we get tons of videos, tons of photos saying this has happened, and I'll use the recent rains, for example. Every time within the last 2 to 3 weeks it rains, there are a couple of videos that come into our news center or WhatsApp group. And WhatsApp is now a pivotal part of how we operate in our news center. But one of the challenges we have is that you don't know from where these videos come. You don't know who owns these videos. So you now are on kind of like a chase to find out, is this video true? Who owns this video? Can we use this video? And I'll give you a joke. There was a video that came into our news center that looked like Jamaica. And many of you probably would have seen it. There were some cows being washed away. And someone sent it to our group to say, this is happening in St. Elizabeth. No. We're like, I don't think so. And you had to be going and searching and going and searching, and you had to keep finding different ways of verifying this content. And turns out it was actually in Honduras. There's another video as well where there was some screaming because there was some landslide, and honestly, it looked like Jamaica. But now you had to be searching to find where else can I see this video to verify whether or not it's Jamaica. Turns out it was Honduras again. So the challenge of verifying content and finding out where these videos are from and exactly whether or not it's something that we can use is a big challenge in this day and age of news with online.
Well, Javon, how do you go about verifying these facts in? Because it's you're getting information from everywhere. So, of course, it's what we had to figure out the validity of said information. So, how do you go about doing that?
And that's the thing. So for us, it's about sometimes going on the same social media. So, okay, you get a video, you go on social media, you might see it on Sleek, you might see it on a Pink Wall, yes, believe it or not. We do go there to see videos. And then sometimes they might tag the person who owns this video. And then from there, you can go to the person who would have put up this video, contact them to find out whether or not this is true. And sometimes you are able to get that kind of veracity of the videos easily. But there are other instances where you don't know whether or not these videos are true. But at the same time, with other circumstantial evidence, you can basically recognize that this is Jamaica. You might make a few calls and realize that, okay, this may be true. But again, you may not know who is the owner of this video, which brings up another issue and another conversation about copyright and about whether or not you're able to use this video, and legal issues come in. But at the same time, you have to now be able to use the community of online that exists to verify this content. And it sometimes means you have to use a personal contacts and call, say, Ramon, you live in Manchester. Me here say, road cut way down there. You see it? Tell me if the video is true. That it comes down to that literally sometimes, but it's difficult because you don't always have that luxury of getting to people you know. You don't always have that luxury of finding people tagged and saying that they are the owners of this video. So it becomes lots more challenging as opposed to when you get a camera, you go out there, you're gone on the scene, and you know that this video is true because you did that as the reporter. You were there with your videographer and you got that video yourself. So it makes things much more challenging.
All right, thank you, Javon. So challenge number one, it's harder to verify information. Let's move on to Mr. Pascal. You hearing me?
Yes, I am.
All right, it's your turn.
Right. Well, you asked the question, one way the internet has affected journalism. And what I think is, for me, is really the dissemination of news. Now, while the internet has made journalism, has made information and news more able to be disseminated more easily, what I think is the verification. I think Javon was kind of alluding to that. And it's similar here in Trinidad and Tobago, where we see videos at times come to the newsroom, videos all over social media. And when we look at it, sometimes it emanated from other parts of the Caribbean. Sometimes we get videos that are shown here in Trinidad and Tobago, and then we find out that that video was actually captured in Jamaica, interestingly enough. And I think it's similar with you guys in Jamaica, where you probably would see videos from Trinidad and Tobago. So I think that's that's one way that the internet has really affected the way in which news is brought out there. Yeah.
All right, so challenge number two is fake news. Dominic, what are you adding to the conversation?
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I was just about to speak on fake news. I guess I could just piggyback on what he said. We see where fake news is actually taking roots or deeper roots into the journalistic field, and we see where writers and editors, basically we have to do a process of fact checking to basically verify sources and to see the news that is coming into us, if it is relevant, how, where did it come from, if it is true, or thorough. Another thing that we see is social media. That is another issue that is currently affecting journalism. We see where basically everybody is using social media now, and you can basically use social media in a good way or a bad way. Majority of the time, I would say that persons mainly use this platform to communicate negative message. And we know everybody, including Jamaican and all over the world, we're quicker to take negative message as opposed to taking positive message. So we see where we have to continuously fact check stuff to see where it is coming from, how true it is. how factual it is. So that is one of the issue. Another issue, again, piggyback on what he's saying, Mr. Pascal, sorry, fake news, and we have to fact check sources as well.
All right, so we have to work harder to ensure that the information that we're sharing is true and factual and sound. Yeah, Mr. Lately, you reach. Andrew, howdy, it's your time to talk, sir.
Greetings, everyone. As you can imagine, we're living in a new paradigm, and I, in fact, had some connectivity issues, and I do apologize for that. But let me just dive right into it, because I heard some of my colleagues and some friends making some comments just now, and I would really love to add to that. As journalists, we are charged with the responsibility to be accurate and to be true. Now, how can you be accurate and how can you be true with the information that you're putting out there in the public? You first have to know what you're talking about, right? And it is when you know what you're talking about that you are able to tell the story. So I feel in this more so now digital age that we're living in because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's important to still know before you tell. And so when you consider that knowing, then you consider all the other areas that I heard some of my colleagues spoke about now. Who's the source? Where's it coming from? And you still have those tenets of basic journalism: the who, the why, the how, the where, the when. That kind of thing. So you still consider that, but firstly, whatever it is, if it's a quote somewhere that you see, if it's a meme that you see going around, if it's a video, wherever it is, you have to know first for yourself where it's coming from before you use your authority and your power as media to disseminate that across different platforms. So it comes down to that knowing before you tell anybody anything. That's certainly what I've been guided by as a journalist over the years.
Right. Well, you see, Andrew, for some persons, and I wanted to give some advice here, it's easier to put out information and issue a retraction later. Some people think that's how it is, right? Because they want to be first, they want to be at the top of the boards, they want to be the first. Give some advice, caution against tell us why they should not be doing that.
So firstly, there is no award for giving a retraction.
Say that again.
There is no award for giving a retraction. In fact, it should be a shameful thing, that you didn't get it right in the first place. I know for sure whenever, no, I'm not saying that giving a retraction is a bad thing. I'm saying stay as far away from it as possible. Ensure that you get all your ducks in a row before you write a story or before you put anything in publication out there, because retraction it's not something that you look at and you say, boy, oh well, I got it wrong, but hey, I got it first. No, that it should not be that at all. The aim is always to be accurate and to get the information out there, yes, as quickly as possible, because we are living in a fast-paced world, and the media environment is a fast-paced environment, but we still have to ensure that we get it right, we get it correct. And I heard Jav talking about sometimes you might have to pick up your phone and call a source who's in the parish, for example, or in the country, because it might be in another Caribbean country or wherever in the world it might be. Give somebody a call. As journalists, we do have connections, and we make connections for these sorts of things. So we call somebody on the ground to verify that information. But making a retraction is nothing to brag about.
All right. Thank you so much. Casey. Mr. Williams?
I'm here. The other instance now has to do with the whole matter of sensitivity. When it comes on social media, persons aren't afraid anymore to video dead bodies, a person's, accident, and everybody's video and everything, and nobody cares. And sometimes to indecent language, we know that with the Broadcasting Commission, for TV and radio, can't have that happening. So you have to be able to maintain your composure and be aware that, hey, you have to be careful of what you're doing.
All right, thank you, Casey. Soini, you hear me, Soini?
Hi everyone. All right, so for me, I think it's passion and purpose that a lot of journalists are lacking, and that is the reason why a lot of these things are happening, especially when it comes on to fake news. Everybody wants to send out a story first, and as we know, for Jamaicans love hearsay. Anything with them say, it goes on and them run with it, right? So as journalists, it is our duty to make sure that we don't put out the wrong kind of information. But unfortunately, a lot of journalists are not doing it for the right reasons. A lot of people just go into journalism because, you know, it sounds good, everybody wants to be on TV, but for what cause and for what purpose? What is the end goal at the end of the day? And that is why the information that is put out there, like I said to you earlier, is not really original and it lacks creativity a lot of the times. So I'd love to see journalists coming back, especially in a digital time when everything is changing. We have to change with the times. We have to realize that, you know, a lot of what is happening now, we have to take control of the information that is put out there because people are relying on us. And so I'm happy that everybody had, you know, shed some light into what's happening and the wrong kind of information that's being put out there. But a lot of people don't even care because they just want to say, oh, I put this out there, and everybody just laugh at it and think it's something that is funny. But the truth is, these are very serious issues that are affecting our country, especially in a pandemic. And so when they find, you know, the reasoning behind why they do what they do, that will, I think for me, that will change the industry to becoming more digitalized.
So, Yanique, what does changing with the times look like? It said that we have to evolve as gatekeepers and as journalists. What does that change look like?
I mean, back in the day, you know, we didn't have the prevalence of social media like our Instagram or Facebook, and even then the content that was put out there wasn't as relevant to so many people, and so many people didn't even have access to it. But now for the fact that even children who are 8 years old have access to our Instagram account or our Facebook account, what is happening is that we have to be mindful of the content that we put out there. And we have to make sure that we utilize these different platforms. A lot of persons are still watching news, but at the end of the day, how many younger persons are tuned into our Twitter or our Instagram or our Facebook? So that's what I mean by changing with what's happening now and you know, and becoming more digitalized, because that's what people are gravitating to. So we have to make sure that whatever we're doing, all content that is put out there is not, I guess, like everybody said, fake news. And so we are able to control that because we have access to all these different platforms and these different persons around the world that we can speak to and, you know, confirm information. But a lot of people, for me, they don't care anymore because it's funny and you know, they want to make a mockery of every situation that's happening. And I do get that, you know, it lightens the mood for a lot of Jamaicans, especially when they don't want to face what's really going on. But it is very, very important for us to realize that times are changing, things are changing, the style of delivery is changing, and just everything is just evolving right now.
Thank you, Sadie. So to summarize everything we just said a while ago, these are the main challenges. It's harder to verify facts. So we have a lot of fake news, and we have to work harder to verify said facts. And lastly, a lot of us have been desensitized. So we post and say everything online because, you know, we can. Did I get that right, everybody? Is that what we discussed a while ago? Right, I think we should move on to some opportunities because, like Einstein said, for every action there is an opposite and equal reaction. I saw him say something like that, don't you? So I want us to look at some opportunities. How has the era of digitization aided journalism and journalistic pursuit? Let's start with you again, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ramon. So first of all, let me just speak about my personal experiences being on the news desk. I love Twitter for tweets and comments from like government ministers that you can really use to add context to your stories. And you'd find that many times when something breaks, let me see if I can find a situation. So quite recently when Jamaica recorded the most company startups, the Companies Office of Jamaica. Jamaica had the most business startups, well, a record number this year. That had not come out in a release to the newsroom as yet, but that was on the finance minister's page. And for example, that's where I got the graph that I used in my story on television. So that's an opportunity. We need to be in tune to Twitter. I mean, outside of there being roles created for digital media, I don't know what you'd call them, specialist or reporter or online media reporter and that kind of thing, that exists now more than ever before because it's relevant. But yeah, those kinds of things, finding finding government tweets and comments and videos and that kind of thing. And I also wanted to make the point, Ramon, that although we were saying be careful of what you see on the internet and be careful of what you grab from the internet, this is not to say that you're supposed to be timid as a journalist or as a media professional. This is saying just be vigilant, be careful, but also welcome the technology, because this is the future of journalism as we know it. Yeah, and so we can't be timid about it, and to for some persons to be afraid of it, because I've certainly seen that as well, where some people be like, where did you get that from? Did you get that from Facebook? No, 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 no. Whereas it's something that's really valid and something that can be used to add value to the story that you're doing. So that's what I would say. There are opportunities out there, like real opportunities. We just have to be able to be open and to go after them, I'd say.
Right. Nice. Dominic?
Hello again, and thank you. So for me, basically, I was just putting together some points. We know that we're living in an era where digitalization is basically evolving every day. So I would say that the opportunities that present itself is that it allows journalists to basically receive, in certain countries, the sending of messages. It basically can threaten someone's life. So we see where the use of encryption tools are coming in. This allows person to send messages to journalists, right? Information, and I'm getting this message, these messages, sorry. It basically can allow them to verify, and this is where we go back to fact checking, to verify these sources, because not everyone is inclined to sharing their personal information with the media. Another point that I can touch on is that the internet also allows journalists to have direct dialogue with readers. And we see where there are various publications, there are various blogs, and all sorts of journals, etc., that allows, and even Twitter, as my colleague said, this allows persons to basically put out information to readers. Mind you that this information can also be bad, but seeing that it's a journalist who basically hold himself to a standard, we would basically think that, or hope that the information that is being disseminated is good and factual. So those are my 2 points. Those are the opportunities that I think digitalization, or the digital world is opening for journalists.
I'm going to piggyback off something you said earlier. You said something about getting messages from foreigners and foreign sources. I think that goes hand in hand with a theory we learned in class a few weeks ago. Crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
Getting information from a specific group of people, and they answer a specific question, or they give you relevant information to a story that you're doing. Years ago, that wouldn't be possible. Before 1991, when the World Wide Web became live to everybody, that wouldn't be possible. So that is one of the opportunities that I've observed personally. Mr. Pascal.
Yes, thank you again. I mean, I think Dominic and Andrew basically stated what I would have like to say it in relation to the points that I would have written down, which are real-time news sharing and real-time news reactions. Because what are the opportunities that, one of the opportunities that is allowed for journalists in this digital era is that we have the opportunity to share news in real time, and we are also able to connect to, as Andrew said, person's Twitter. So we get, like, for instance, here in Trinidad and Tobago, the Minister of Finance, we get news from him all the time. It's very easy to get news from him. There's another journalist called Keishan Haynes. They are very tech savvy in relation to Twitter and their news sharing. And I think Andrew was trying to get, either Andrew or Dominic was trying to get at the name that they, although they are persons specially termed, whose job title it is to disseminate news via social media. I think those are like digital journalists, digital content journalists, something like that. We as journalists also need to seize the opportunity that there is at present to disseminate news via social media. And my second opportunity rather, is real-time news reaction. We as journalists are able to get the reaction of persons on social media, be it by way of comment or their reaction on Facebook, Things like that, or also by WhatsApp messages, as Javon would have stated in the first question in terms of talking about the challenges. Persons, they are very big on WhatsApp right now, and persons send their videos via WhatsApp. And so it's similar here in Trinidad and Tobago, where we are able to get information more readily available and also reactions.
All right, nice. I'm only going to take one more person. I'm going to take Javon. And to close, I'm going to ask Casey and Serena to give some advice. So, Javon.
All right, thanks, Ramon. So one of the things my Spanish teacher taught me in high school is this saying that I always use, and it's so relevant in this context. El mundo es un pañuelo. The world is like a handkerchief, and you know, a handkerchief, it's all connected. Now, with COVID-19, it's really shown us as journalists that we don't have to have a cameraman and we don't have to have a videographer to go out and get information. With COVID-19 and the use of the digital space, and Zoom has been our best friend in the TVJ newsroom, for example. But I can sit at 32 Lyndhurst Road and have a conversation with someone in Qatar. I can have a conversation with someone in Belgium. I can have conversations with people that before it would have been so difficult to get information from them and have an interview with them. So with the whole change in dynamic and ease of access to the World Wide Web, we are now able to get experts from across the world. I remember even reaching out to someone about sargassum seaweed. There's an expert in Europe, and I was able to get information from them readily. Time gone by, it would be so difficult to get these experts to talk and communicate with us. But now it's so easy because of this digitalized world, and it makes things so much easier. So connecting with people across the globe is so much easier. But also an advantage of this online space is that we as mainstream media practitioners also now have the opportunity to be in the same space as the fake news and demystify some of it. Because now, before, you used to have to wait until 7 p.m. to see primetime news or the hourly newscasts on radio. But not for you, though. A lot of young people don't listen to radio. So I'm using TV, for example, and even then, people don't usually watch TV. So you're on Twitter and you're seeing the messages go on and you see fake news, but now we're in the same space. So Black Boy Magic can go post something that is fake news, and TVJ News is right there in the same space as Black Boy Magic saying that what I say is fake. So now it provides us the opportunity to really help people to verify what's real and what's not. And you know, this is a whole other conversation, and I'm wrapping up here, but this is a whole other conversation about the relevance of mainstream media. But I can tell you this. People still come to watch primetime news in the evenings, even though people don't necessarily watch the physical TV box, but they still watch primetime news because guess what? They want to know whether or not what they're seeing in the spaces online is true. Which means if we can be in that same space and show that, look, this is not real, this is so true, but this is the fact, then it shows that we as mainstream media practitioners can, of course, help to get the facts in people's face.
All right, thank you so much, Javon. It's hard keeping up with all these changes. The internet and everything else is coming at you, and it's coming at you so quickly. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Saini, how do we keep up with it?
Well, we have to, because that is the world that we're now living in. And I think one of the things that we have to do is to utilize it to the best of its ability, especially speaking about, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, for those who still use Facebook. And as everybody rightly said, these are the platforms that people are now looking forward to. A lot of people still wait up for the news, but when they miss the news, these are the platforms that they're gonna go on so that they can get the different snippets of it, and they can just keep abreast of what's happening. Utilize them to also make it entertaining and interesting for younger persons who want to know what's happening in the world. So I think my greatest advice is to just utilize these platforms because they are there and they're free and they're accessible to so many people around the world. So make it make sense for everybody. That's my advice.
All right, Casey, to close.
All right, so my advice now in regards to summing up everything is just have to be cautious about how we approach stories, how we approach people. Sometimes we have to look on the fact that people look for publicity, and they might sometimes want to use us as the vehicles to drive them there. Technology, as helped us, but it has also brought about disadvantages. I would say that in terms of helping us, whereas in previous times you wanted to interview someone, you had to send a cameraman, you had to go with your tape recorder, or by whatever means you had to go out to the person's physical location. I can sit here at my desk at my home, look at the hillside, and I can just look on any one of my phones, and I get a WhatsApp message from a command officer from the police, a criminal attorney. I've been here and I've gotten information from things that have happened in Kingston that I don't have any jurisdiction over, but I still get it and I pass it on. So technology has enabled us to be able to basically put all of the world together. In terms of the disadvantages, we have to be mindful of information that we receive. When in doubt, check it out. And after you check it once, check it twice. And if you have a gut feeling, go with it. If you feel like this is not right, do not go with it. Do not let anybody pressure you. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. Do not let it be that Casey Williams, Andrew Laidley, anybody here made a decision and put information in a story. That story is broadcast, aired, whatever means, published. And when all hell got to broke loose, your head is the first head to roll. Don't let it be that. Let it be that the people who you write about, let their heads roll so that you can do your update. And in the other regard, always try to think about the families in terms of persons who are deceased and so on. Try to think about how they feel. So try to be able to not only sometimes get the authoritative source, but get information on the ground. You can still get that through social media. And yes, that's pretty much it. Did I answer the questions clearly?
Yes, Casey, you did. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Listen, the digital world is vast. It's up to us to know how best to use it. Yeah? Guys, again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for keeping my company. And thank you for sharing some incredibly salient points. Again, this forum was held as part of the course Web-Based Journalism with Rhoma Tomlinson Whyte at Northern Caribbean University. I'm Ramon Gordon, and it was a pleasure facilitating this talk. Until next time, walk good and take care.